Today I'll be reviewing Orb, on the movements of the Earth. This is the last well-known series I haven't watched yet. Many people call it Anime of the Year, and they also say it's the greatest anime series they've ever seen. In this series, the main character Raphael is a smart guy that's heading to university. He pretends to hide his true self, and puts on his fake image that he knows everyone will like. His life is going great. However, one day, he meets a heretic that challenges the church teachings that the geocentric model is wrong, and it's actually the heliocentric model that is correct. The planets and the sun doesn't move around the Earth. Instead, the Earth and the other planets move around the sun. The main character doesn't want to believe this. He just wants to live a happy life, but he can't help but wonder if the heretic is right. And he starts to do research into the topic. I, like many other people, didn't give the series a chance because of the premise. You would think it was just going to be a series about science and space, and proving the heliocentric model is correct. That sounds boring to many people, if you aren't really into that sort of topic. I'm glad I gave the series a chance though, because all the things I mentioned aren't the main focus of the series. The true main focus is how much suffering people go through in order to express their ideas. You don't have to think of it as just proving the heliocentric model is correct. You could also see it as the freedom of religion, or the freedom to say what your true viewpoints are on something. Throughout history, millions of people have been persecuted for their beliefs, and this series showed how far people go in order to stand up for their beliefs. It was truly moving and inspirational. People sacrifice a lot for their freedom. I love the message that the series had, that once a movement or an idea starts to spread, it will continue to grow, and there's no stopping it. You can get rid of one person, multiple people, or even their leader, but someone else will take their place. You can't stop people from having free will. These scenes were obviously very sad and emotional to watch. It did such a good job getting you so attached to these characters. I really wasn't expecting this. I expected this to be a boring show about space and science. Instead, it turned out to be a very dark and messed up series. It showed the horrific things people will do in order to make sure society stays the same and never changes. It shows the lengths people go through in order to stay in power. And they do all of this in the name of religion. It sounds a lot like how the world is now. It did such a good job at showing how humans hate change, that even if there's clear evidence that proves something wrong, they will still choose to believe the original viewpoint on a topic, even if it's proven wrong, because admitting they're wrong would just be too much for them. This show was a masterpiece until episode 24. It showed the human spirit will never waver when they truly believe in something. Episode 24, though, was where the series started to kind of fall apart, and it gave a lackluster ending. The final arc just didn't have the excitement and inspirational main characters that the other arcs had. It also did this one thing that writers like to do, which is make the events open to interpretation. I know people do this because they want the writing to be thought-provoking, and have the audience come to their own conclusion to the story. But it really would have been nice in this situation to get a clear answer. We don't know 100% if everything from episode 24 onwards is in the same timeline as episodes before, or if it's an alternate reality. I think it's the same timeline, but it would have been nice if things were less vague. Also, if you want to have just 2 episodes for the final arc, at least make it very eventful and make it feel like a lot happened, just like in the first arc. But in this final arc, it just felt like we got to see a quick story, and that was pretty much it. It felt very lackluster and uneventful. The characters were of course great in the series. Raphael developed from being a character that did whatever people told him to do, to becoming a determined person that would choose their own path in life, even if everyone else is against them. Badeni was my favorite character in the show. He was selfish, smart, and arrogant. He mostly did everything for himself, but you still saw that he still cared for people in his own way. It was just nice not to see a boring nice guy for once. Okuji was another great character that had great character development. He went from being a guy that didn't feel like he had purpose in life, to becoming a strong character that will fight for what they believe in. Draka was another important character in the show. She wasn't as exciting as the other characters, but was still pretty enjoyable to watch. It was enjoyable seeing her develop her own beliefs about life, and using motivation that was quite different from the other characters that I mentioned before. She really liked having a lot of money. Novaku is pretty much the main antagonist of the series. Some people will say he really isn't, but he even admits at the end he is the villain of the story. I don't dislike him because he did terrible things to characters I liked. I found him boring because he felt like a simpleton. He didn't really have any strong beliefs or convictions for the first half of the series. He simply followed orders. It was just boring to watch. In the second half of the series, he misplaces his anger on a certain thing, and doesn't really investigate or find out what the truth really is. He's not on the same level as the main antagonist in the first season of Vinland Saga. I'm comparing them because people kept comparing him to that main antagonist. I really liked the opening song for the series, and how they incorporated different characters from various arcs into the original opening song. The different ending songs were okay. The music throughout the series really made these scenes feel more emotional and powerful. The art style and the animation looked good enough. Up until episode 24, this was a 10 out of 10 series, and one of the best series I've ever seen. But the ending to a series is very important. It isn't everything, but it will make a major impact on how you view the series. The final arc just didn't have that same intense and emotional feeling as the other arcs. And when the series ended, it made you think, really? That's it? I still like the series overall. I give this series a 8 out of 10.